How can you get your age so wrong?
Oh no, what a shame. What a shame. Here I was preparing a special episode of the show to mark Meghan Markle's 45th birthday. I've got Link Lauren, one of Meghan Markle's biggest supporters in the United States of America, and we were just going to celebrate how this lady has turned 45. And Link, it's just such bad news because all of a sudden, this birthday, this 45th birthday, has turned into an absolute disaster for Meghan Markle.
I think when I was 30, if I thought about 50, I thought that is an awful long way away. And I don't really need to think about it. And then I blinked and I'm 50. That's crazy.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Many people out there have been speculating on that Meghan Markle has lied about her age. Is she actually older?
Yesterday, she turned 45. That's the number on the cake. That's the number in the caption. That's the number every newspaper on both sides of the Atlantic printed without blinking. Music. And within 4 hours, thousands of people underneath every royal channel on this music platform were doing what they do every August, counting backwards and getting a different answer.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right. And everything she said has come true.
I've been reading those comments for a long time. Music. And this year I noticed something I never had before. Every single one of you is asking the wrong parent. You ask about music, the father, he'd know. He was there. A man knows when his daughter was born.
Meghan was born, and she was born as a C-section, so she was put in my arm. I was the first person to hold her. Her little hand went on my finger.
You asked about the half-sister, the music, classmates, the yearbooks, that magazine page from 1997 that gets dragged out of the loft every summer.
There's nothing original here.
I hope you're having the best birthday you've ever had. Thank you for everything.
Which is really such a...
And in 8 years of books, documentaries, court filings, and one very expensive Netflix series, nobody has ever put the question to the one human being on this earth who does not need a single piece of paper to answer it. Her mother, Doria Ragland, was in that room, not down the corridor, not waiting by a telephone. In the music room on the 4th of August, 1981, at West Park Hospital in Canoga Park, out in the San Fernando Valley. What if Meghan Markle?
What if Meghan Markle was adopted? What is there more to her birth than just her age? Could it be that she doesn't know her own age because she's been lied to by her father and mother? Could it be that's why Doria doesn't have a bond with Meghan Markle? Because what mother leaves her daughter when she's 3 or 4 years?
Whatever anybody else in the story has, she has something none of them do. She was the one giving birth. And in 45 years, she has never once been asked for the number. 45 candles went on that music cake yesterday, and somewhere behind them stand a woman who has never been asked to count.
I remember when she was born, big new addition to the family, and it was, we just have a very young sister here.
So that's what we're doing today. We're not going to argue with anybody. We're not going to wave a certificate at you and tell you to calm down. We're going to look at what her own family has put in writing, their own books, their own legal filings, music, their own private emails. Because when I sat down and lined those up next to each other, I found something I genuinely was not expecting.
Thomas Jr. was 14 when Meghan came into the world. Were you disappointed?
No, I just made a little mark on my board and said, oh, there's another lie, click.
No, I just made a little mark on my board and said, oh, there's another live click. There are more numbers in this family than there are people in it. And there's one thing Meghan herself said about age out loud on the record years before Harry that almost nobody has ever quoted properly. We'll get to it. Stay with me, because it lands very differently once you've seen the rest.
This is a copy of 17 magazine, and it was published in March of 1997. In it, it mentions our Megzy is from Los Angeles and that she was 21 years old at the time of publication. That would make her birth year at around 1976.
Let's start with who music has actually been asked. It's a longer list than you think, and neither parent is on it. The classmates have been checked. Somebody cross-referenced a childhood friend's birth year. Somebody pulled a California state index. Somebody found company filings in London. Somebody dug a magazine out of a 1997 archive. Music documents. Everybody went hunting for documents. And in 8 years of it, music. Cannot find one instant of anybody sitting either of that girl's parents down and simply asking them the year. Not the father, not music, the mother. And there is a hierarchy here that nobody ever says out loud. So I'm going to say it.
You're wondering, why does her age matter at all? Because her age would also have an impact on her ability to have children. Because if Meghan Markle is 4 years older than what we have been led to believe, it makes it even more difficult to believe that she was able to get pregnant so quickly.
A father gives you a date from memory, a good memory, possibly still a memory. A half-sister gives you a date from arithmetic, and she was a teenager at the time. A mother gives you a date from the delivery room. Those are not the same category of music, witness. One is testimony. The other two are reconstruction. One of you wrote this underneath our last video on the subject. Don't understand. Her family lived a life around her. They must know her age. Music, why are they not telling? Her dad must know when she came into the world. 59 people hit like on that, and every single one of them, including me at the time, was looking straight past the only person who was definitely present.
And there was something, in my opinion, missing in their eyes. It didn't seem real to me. And there's a very big difference. It was deliberate. I'll tell you why. What she told the royal family, what she told Harry, wouldn't have jived, wouldn't have been consistent with the truth.
And here's what makes it worse. Doria, music, isn't silent by nature. In December 2022, she sat down and spoke publicly for the first time. The sentence she opened with was this: the last 5 years had music, been challenging, and she was ready to have her voice heard. Ready to have her voice heard. She talked about the phone call, the one where her daughter said, "Mommy, I'm going out with Prince Harry." She talked about race, about regret, about being followed, and about feeling unsafe. And in all of it, not one person in that production turned to her and said, "What year was that, Doria? What time was it? What did the wristband music say?" Nobody asked, which is odd on its own, but not half as odd as what happens when you take the numbers. The rest of them have put in writing and lay them side by side.
It's absolutely clear that this young woman was strong in her beliefs. It didn't matter if she was 11 years old. She believed in women. She believed in her own power, and she wasn't afraid to reach out and say, "I want my power. I want my right.
I'm gonna come."
Right? Follow this closely, because none music of it is internet speculation. Every single thing in this chapter comes out of fact check, the one written specifically to shut this conversation down. Start with Samantha's book, written by her own account to set the record straight about her sister. She describes Meghan's arrival with a line about the great migration of genes bringing the ship Meghan Flower to dock at their house. And then she gives a date, August the 31st, 1981. Now, the year matches. I'm not going to stand here and pretend it doesn't. The year is 1981, and the sister wrote it down herself. Music. But the birthday everybody sang for yesterday was the 4th. Samantha's book says the 31st, 27 days out from the sister who wrote a book to correct the record.
August 4th, 40 years ago, Meghan was born.
Her father claims that she was born in 1981. So if she was born in 1981 when Yasmin did that commercial, and like in 1997, she would have been 16 years of age, not 13.
Now her legal filing. In her complaint, she describes a 17-year age difference music between them. 17. That's the number quoted at me every time somebody wants this conversation over, except she was born in November 1964. Count out, and the gap to August music 1981 is 16 years and 8 months, not 17. She rounded up in a legal document about her own sister.
So there is something that is not connecting. There is something that is not right.
Then there's Meghan's music own writing in a private 2018 email that later ended up in court. She describes her father's other children as music, 15 and 17 years old when her parents separated, except Samantha, born in 1964, is the older of the two. The brother came in 1966. So the elder sister is written down as the younger number. The fact checkers who dug all this out could see it. They said so themselves in print. The ages they wrote were clearly slightly confused. clearly slightly confused.
Meghan Markle is once again getting trolled. Oh, poor Meghan, the most trolled person in the entire world.
So, let's count what we've got. A book that names the wrong day. A filing that rounds a number in the wrong direction. A private email in which the most photographed woman alive gets her own siblings the wrong way round. And a fact check that writes all of it down and then prints the word false music at the bottom of the page. And look, the certificate is a certificate. I'm not going to insult you by pretending a state index doesn't exist. It exists. It says what it says. Anybody can look at it. But a state index is a form, and somebody filled it in. The people who could confirm it from memory have between them produced a wrong day, a rounded gap, and a set of sibling ages that don't survive 90 seconds with a calculator. So, which one of them do you want me to build my week around?
While seeing this photo was from an article that came out back on November 11, 2017, before Harry and Meghan got engaged. And that is a super important detail. This article that was published on November 11, 2017 with the headline, "The Look That Hooked Meghan's Dad," the charming high school photos of the woman who could be Prince Harry's mother-in-law showing the sweet eyes and afro that Ms. Markle thinks made her father fall for her. Written by Caroline Graham. Yes, the same Caroline Graham who was responsible for publishing those staged photos that ruined Thomas Markle's relationship with his alleged daughter.
Now, here's the part that stopped me. The theory that's been running under every video on this subject for years. The one that will not die no matter how many certificates get waved at it. Says she wasn't born in 1981 music at all. It says 1976. It says 1977. It comes from that magazine page, from the classmates, from a lot of people who look at photographs and say the arithmetic doesn't sit right. Fine, let's take it completely seriously for 2 minutes and do the thing almost nobody arguing about it is bothered to do.
Fresh-faced and full of hope for the future, she could, surely, never in her wildest dreams have imagined that her daughter would one day grow up and fall in love with a prince. This is Meghan Markle's mother as a teenager with captivating looks, seen in an enchanting photo published for the first time here today. Doria Ragland was just 16 and an outstanding pupil at Fairfax High School in Los Angeles when these pictures were taken for the school yearbook in 1972. Her life then revolved around her studies, listening to Marvin Gaye and fun-filled nights at a local Mexican taco joint with friends. But just 7 years later, Doria would fall head over heels in love with Thomas Markle, a handsome Hollywood lighting director 12 years her senior. Meghan has previously said of their romance, "I like to think he was drawn to her sweet eyes and her afro, plus their shared love of antiques."
Let's find out what her parents were doing in 1976. They hadn't met. Here's the timeline. And music, none of it is disputed. Meghan's own account, in her own writing, is that her parents met in the late music 7s. Her father, a lighting director on a soap opera, her mother temping at the studio. The reporting puts a whirlwind romance of 6 months in front of the wedding and the music, wedding we can date to the day. The 23rd of December, 1979, a temple on Sunset Boulevard, a monk in orange robes. She was 23, he was 35, and an uncle who told a newspaper years later that none of the family had heard a word about Thomas music until the invitations landed on the doormat.
Whatever it was, they married and had me. Yay! The pair married in 1979, and 2 years later, their beloved only daughter Meghan was born.
6 months back from that December music. Wedding puts the meeting somewhere in the middle of 1979. So, put the two timelines next to each other. Music. The official one, they meet in 1979, marry that December, and a daughter arrives in August 1981. Music, 19 months after the wedding. Tidy, raises no eyebrows anywhere. Music. The other one, the one thousands of people believe and have believed for years, has that daughter arriving in 1976 music or 1977, which is 2 to 3 years before her parents were introduced, not before the wedding, before the introduction, before the lighting department and the makeup department were even on the same call sheet. That is not a rounding error. That's a ghost at the wedding.
I've lost my dad in this. So him as my father-in-law was really important to me.
I don't know of anybody that cold to do this.
I'm doing because it isn't what you think. I am not telling you the theory, music, falls over. Every time somebody has stood up and told this audience to calm down, it has not aged well. What I'm telling you is that the theory, if it holds, doesn't just move a birthday, it moves a family. Because if she really did arrive in 1977, then the tidy little story, the studio, the 6-month romance, the temple, the baby 19 months later isn't the story. Not the order of it, not the shape of it, not any of it. Somebody would have been rewriting it from the very first page. And there she is again, standing quietly at the back of Music the Room, the one who was there.
This is the 1972 yearbook, and there you can see that there is Doria. Now, from what I gather, Fairfax High School in their yearbooks only have pictures of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And in this photo, Doria is a sophomore, which is 10th grade. So that would mean, logically, she would have graduated in 1974.
This is the part that should actually bother you, and it has nothing to do with a certificate. Doria Ragland was 24 years old on the 4th of August, 1981. She turned 25 29 days later. That's from her own publicly recorded birth date. The 2nd of September, 1956, Cleveland, Ohio. 24 going on 25. First child, brand new husband. A hospital out in the valley. Now, I don't know a single mother on this earth who's fuzzy about that. Ask any woman watching this how old she was when her first one arrived. She won't reach for a phone. She'll give you the age, the hour, the weather, and what the midwife said in under 4 seconds. That number is welded on.
4 years, one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Meghan Markle's mother behind a wall of silence. Questions about her mother's whereabouts were dismissed, while anyone who dared to investigate too deeply found themselves facing extraordinarily harsh consequences. The article I'm about to show you that the palace failed to bury finally explains Doria's long absence.
So here's what we've got. A woman who knows it perfectly, who in 8 years of the most relentlessly covered family on the planet has given the world one proper interview. One. And in it, she said she was ready to have her voice heard. She had the floor, a global audience, cameras, hours of it. And through all of that and 8 years of headlines about her daughter's age either side of it, she has never once said the number out loud. Not in that interview, not in a statement, not in a single quoted line anywhere.
According to Mr. Markle, Meghan Markle lived with him from the age of 10 until she graduated from high school. Meghan Markle alleges many times that her mother lived just 40 minutes down the road from her. Given LA, that is actually a very short distance. The high school principal from Meghan Markle and all the teachers did not know that Doria was black because they had never met her. Mr. Markle was single-handedly raising Meghan Markle. No vestiges of Doria. Why wouldn't a devoted mother go to meet the teachers, which is mandatory in the state of California? Only one parent has full custody and guardianship of the daughter, which seems to be the case for Mr. Markle.
That could be nothing. Mothers don't generally get asked to certify their children, but this has been argued in public for years. Books, court filings, newspaper columns. It got so loud that a British magazine in print since before Queen Victoria took the throne felt it had to run the question at all. And through all of it, the one person who could end it in 4 words has not said a syllable. Everyone else here has an incentive. The father has one. The sister has several. The commentators have a business model. And yes, before somebody types it, so do I. The mother has nothing. She's not selling a book. She's not suing anybody. She has never once cashed in on any music of it, which makes her the only clean witness in the entire affair, and the only one nobody has ever called.
You had the option, P. Diner, to interview Meghan Markle. What would be the 3 things that you would like to ask?
I would ask her, girl, did you give birth to those children? Did you really birth those children?
Well, I tried so hard. Did you like it?
Yeah.
That's what
show
I would
me the
ask
birth
her.
certificate, okay?
Yeah, show us the birth certificate.
And then there's the other one, because this family has produced 2 births that a piece of paper should have settled, and neither music of them ever quite did. You'll remember the story. Candles carried into a hospital room, Sanskrit chanting music on the speakers, a photograph of his mother propped on a table, 2 epidurals in the version that has gone round ever since, and a new mother out of Central Music London Hospital, and on the road home roughly 2 hours after delivering. 2 hours. You had a great deal to say about that music, and I have not forgotten it.
And then Harry in his book says that within 2 hours of the child being born, they were back at Frogmore Cottage. Those are his words. Those are not my words. Those are his.
One of you wrote, she music gave birth in hospital at age 4,243 after 2 epidurals and was home in herb 2 hours music later. Really? 116 of you agreed with her. Somebody music, else who plainly knew what she was talking about, wrote underneath, you can't get 2 epidurals. Sorry. And my personal favorite from a gentleman who went straight music past the entire royal fairy tale to the only question that interested him. Do hospitals even allow patients to have lighted candles in their rooms? Seems like a fire hazard to me. Fair question. Music. His version says they were the battery sort, which raises a better one. What kind of man packs plastic candles for a maternity ward? Because that's the bit I keep circling. Not the medicine. The production values.
If that is the case, that means that this woman with not 1 but 2 epidural, with a very difficult birth, geriatric, was literally cleaned up. The baby was smugged, wrapped, put in a van, and sent back because it takes almost an hour from Portland Hospital to go to Frogmore Cottage.
Yes.
How can this woman be allowed? That is a medical liability.
And here's what nobody stops to say out loud. Every detail that day, the candles, the chanting, the epidurals, the 2 hours comes from exactly one place. Him, his book, his telling. When did we all quietly agree that a man's own memoir counts as evidence about that man? Nobody writes 400 pages about himself and comes out looking worse than he went in. Music. That is the precise opposite of what a memoir is for. And this is the household, remember, where one half of it put her own brother and sister the wrong way round in writing. We watched that 2 chapters ago in a court file. So no, I'm not taking music, the timeline of a birth, on trust from the other half of that household on the strength of a book he was paid to write. And understand what I am and am not saying here.
Long before she was a duchess, Meghan Markle was a queen.
I'm not going anywhere near those children. They're music children. They didn't choose any of this, and they get no part in it. Not from me. Not ever. What I'm looking at is the account the adults gave of a day. The story they chose to tell. And the way that story, like the other one, comes out a slightly different shape every time somebody looks straight at it. 2 births, 2 documents that should have ended every argument stone dead. And nobody has ever properly asked the woman standing closest to either of them, so, where does that leave us? The day after the 45th birthday, exactly where we've been every August for years. A state index that says one thing. A book that names another day, a filing that rounds a number, an email that muddles 2 siblings, a magazine page from 1997 that nobody has explained music and nobody has retracted, and thousands of people who look at the pile and quietly decline to be talked out of what they think. I'm not going to be the one who tells you you're wrong. Even the washing up liquid advert, the story that made her a household name as a child campaigner, has been picked at by her own biographers and by a magazine that once put her on its cover. If that one won't sit still, I'm not about to lecture anybody on which stories are settled. But I promise you something at the top. So here it is. In 2015, years before Harry, back when she was an actress doing press for a legal drama, Meghan Markle was asked about her age, and she gave an answer almost nobody has ever quoted in full. She said, and I'm giving you the whole thing, I think as women actors, the industry can assume they have a shelf life. I'm always told, don't say your age. I'm 33, and I'm really comfortable with that. If anyone has a problem, then it's their problem, not mine. Music, read that again slowly, because there are 2 women talking in that paragraph. The first one tells you the rule. In this industry, a woman has a shelf life. In this industry, a woman is always told. Always, present tense. Not once by one director on one job. never to say her age. And then 4 words later, the second one breaks it. Straight past her own rule and out with a number. So, which one are we listening to? Because you cannot stand in front of a magazine and explain exactly why an actress in that business keeps her age to herself, then hand over your own and expect nobody to notice what you just described. She had been in that industry since she was a teenager, and she just told the world on the record that there is a standing reason for a woman in it to be careful with that number. She didn't only give us a number that day. She gave us the motive. There is no mystery here that one afternoon couldn't finish. One woman, one music, question, one sentence. She's in California. She has sat in front of a camera crew and said she was ready to be heard. So, somebody go and ask her mother. We've been asking the wrong parent for years. So have I. That stops today. Drop your verdict in the comments. Do you think that silence is just a mother protecting her daughter? Or is there a reason nobody has ever put her in front of that question? I read music, every single one of them, and it was one of your comments that started this whole thread in the first place. Music, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about these stories. And subscribe because there's a lot more coming this week. And if you ever find a clip of Doria Ragland being asked about the year, any interview, any decade, any country, put the link below. I'll run it in the next one. Because the moment somebody finally asks her, this is either over in 4 words or gets a great deal more interesting.